In the grandeur of the Afro-Eurasian continent, where empires flourished, innovations echoed, and trade routes stretched across the known world, the untamed islands to the east lay shrouded in a timeless Neolithic mist. Millennia behind, these enigmatic lands, ready to be shaped by innovation and external influence, were on the cusp of a profound metamorphosis. Hello, and welcome to Impactful Moments, where we explore some of the most, you guessed it, impactful moments in human history. If history is your thing, or you simply enjoy learning new topics, please consider liking and subscribing to our channel. Your support helps us to continue creating captivating, impactful historical content. In this video, we will discuss Yamato Japan, the embers that ignited Japanese history. While North Africa, mainland Asia, and parts of Europe saw the rise of empires through advancements in agriculture, writing, and metals such as bronze and iron, there existed an archipelago off the east coast of China and the Korean peninsula. On these lands, part of what we know today as Japan, ancient hunter-gatherers persisted in their Neolithic lifestyle. Although archaeological findings and carbon dating hint at a possible technological transition as early as the 10th century BCE, historical consensus largely dates this distinctive era, known as the Jomon period, until about 300 BCE. For reference, by the end of Japan's Stone Age, Alexander the Great had already conquered the Persians, the Roman Republic was seeing significant expansion across Italy, and Chinese power neared unification. Debates linger among historians as to whether the Jomon people independently developed farming and metalworking skills, or if, as is widely accepted, migration from mainland China and Korea brought advanced techniques to these islands. But when this occurred around 300 BCE, it marked the transition to the Yayoi period, characterized by more advanced architecture, improved metal tools, and, most importantly, the introduction of stable rice cultivation, leading the population to settle stably in one area and multiply rapidly. As society expanded, tribal groups began to form. Social strata emerged, giving rise to hundreds of tribes and settlements. As a consequence, however, the creation of metal weaponry and territorial claims and conquests introduced conflict and warfare across the islands, leading to the formation of small states, known as kuni. Although the Yayoi people left no written records, archaeological findings have provided insights, and written accounts from China give us some detail on this burgeoning society's history. The Book of Han, referring to this region as Wa in what is considered the earliest written reference to Japan in human history, notes the existence of about 100 kuni by the 1st century CE. Subsequent writings following the fall of the Han Dynasty, such as the Waiji, note the ascent to prominence of a particular kuni. Guided by their queen Himiko, following the civil war of Wa in around 180 CE, this tribe consolidated about 30 states under Himiko's rule, establishing what would become the first Japanese kingdom of Yamato. Himiko, and later her successor Iyo, fostered peaceful ties with Wei and Jin China, providing tribute and, per Chinese records, receiving gifts, notably many bronze bells and mirrors. While Chinese records go dark on Yamato following Iyo's rule, signs of a new rising power in central Japan began to sprout. Limited and second-hand information on Yamato leaves questions on their location. Archaeological findings, however, suggest mound-like graves that, if correctly associated with the Yamato, may connect this period with the rising power that followed. Large grave mounds, well exceeding those of the Yamato, known as kofun, came to dominate the Japanese landscape. Over 160,000 kofun, 16,000 near the Hyogo prefecture alone, have been unearthed, with the largest, Daisen, measuring over 400 meters in length, and believed to have been built for their emperor Nintoku. Given the incredible need for manpower and labor, these graves, filled with terracotta figures called haniwa, provide evidence of upper classes that could control or subjugate lower classes. Given the prominence of these graves across the archipelago, this period became known as the Kofun period. While largely an archaeological period, Chinese and Korean records do provide information about this era. The Book of Song, the Song Dynasty, not the musical compositions, note the early regional consolidation of power around 300 CE, after what was likely a period of warfare. And the Samguk Sagi, a Korean historical documentation, notes Japanese military aid to Korea around 400 CE. During the Kofun period, China and Korea had significant influence on Japanese culture, government, and technological and agricultural advancements. This period saw the rise of local clans called uji in regions such as Kibi, Izumo, Koshi, and others. By the end of the 5th century, however, one regional clan began to distinguish itself and spread its influence across southern Japan. Distinct keyhole kofun, which began popping up across the islands, were a symbol of the spreading influence of this uji, known as Yamato. The Yamato strategically employed a blend of marital alliances and military prowess to extend their influence among the archipelago's uji. Leveraging Korean and Chinese immigrants, they acquired crucial technological advancements, consolidating their dominance within the region. With the establishment of a centralized court structure, the Yamato asserted authority across the islands by bestowing titles upon clan leaders, enabling them to assume positions of governance. Only the Yamato clan, however, could sit at the top of this power structure. While assuming a pivotal role in Japan's governance, the Yamato clan weren't necessarily the most powerful. Seeking to solidify their influence, they seized control of the kabane system, which conferred hereditary noble titles upon influential families. Among the nearly 30 kabane, the most prestigious, Omi and Muraji, traced their lineage back to the earliest Emperor Jimmu and local deities, called kami, respectively. The Kofun period set the stage for the transition to the Asuka period, around 538 CE. This pivotal juncture is demarcated with the introduction of Buddhism to Japan. The arrival of Buddhism, introduced in either 538 as per Prince Shotoko's biography, or 552 as noted in the Nihon Shoki, stirred differing reactions among Japan's ruling clans. While the pragmatic Soga clan embraced its potential, other uji, like the Mononobe and the Nakatomi, viewed it with suspicion, possibly due to xenophobic tendencies of non-Japanese practices, or perhaps perceiving it as a challenge to their traditional association with Shintoism and ancient kami. However, by 587, the Soga clan's victory in the Battle of Shigisan, led by chieftain Umako, and the ascension of Empress Suiko, a supporter of Buddhism, catalyzed the integration of the religion into Japanese society. During the reign of Empress Suiko, the influence of Prince Shotoku Taishi, installed by Umaku, loomed large. Shotoku's legacy, which many believe may have been exaggerated, sometimes to the point of legend, is enshrined in the replacement of the hereditary kabane system with the merit-based cap-ranked one, the establishment of Japan's 17-article constitution, modeled after Confucian principles, and his efforts to propagate Buddhism, including temple construction across the archipelago. Shotoku also boldly addressed China as an equal rather than a superior, which may have strained relations with China. While the precise date is unclear, the introduction of writing through Chinese characters also likely occurred during Shotoku's reign. In 645, following the deaths of Suiko, Shotoku, and Umaku, the Soga leadership began to abuse their power, leading to a palace coup known as the Ishii Incident. This was orchestrated by Prince Nakano-oi of Yamato lineage, who became Emperor Tenji, and Kamatari of the Nakatomi Uji, who organized the assassination of Iruka of Soga. Aimed at curbing Soga dominance, this coup ushered in the Taika reforms. These sweeping overhauls revolutionized land ownership, transferring control from clans to the central court, which implemented taxes on both produce and services that were used for military and public works. These reforms also confiscated the weapons of the citizenry, abolishing the clan titles, and divided Japan into provinces, which were subdivided into districts and villages. The Taika reforms led to the Ritsuryo legal system, which evolved over time with the Omi, Asuka Miyomihara, and ultimately Taiho Code in 701, establishing a framework for both criminal code called Ritsu and administrative and civil codes known as Ryo that endured for over a millennium. Following Tenji's death, a dispute on the succession led to the Jinshin War of 672 CE between Tenji's brother Oama and son Otomo. Oama played his military and political cards right and defeated Otomo, following which he was crowned Emperor Tenmu, using the term Tenno, Japanese for emperor, for the first time. Tenmu created reforms that greatly increased the power of the emperor, even to the point of deification. The Kofun and Asuka periods, which made up the broader Yamato period, laid the bedrock for Japanese history and governance, transitioning from a fledgling tribal rulership to a structured system governed by enduring legal codes, setting the stage for centuries to come. During the Yamato period, the seeds of centralized governance were sown, setting the stage for significant developments in the subsequent decades. With the consolidation of imperial power, Japan witnessed the establishment of its first permanent capital, Nara, in 710 CE. Modeled after the grandeur of the Chinese Tang capital, Nara became the central seat of government, symbolizing imperial authority and providing a focal point for administrative activities. The implementation of the Ritsuryo legal system during the Yamato period laid the groundwork for a more structured and efficient governance system. This system, characterized by a centralized bureaucracy and uniform legal codes, brought greater stability and order to Japanese society. The centralized capital of Nara also resulted in improved road networks connecting the capital with distant regions. These improved road systems facilitated communication, trade, and the spread of Buddhist teachings. Buddhism, which had gained momentum during the Yamato period, flourished further during the subsequent decades, blending with the ancient Japanese religion of Shinto to form the unique Shinbutsu Shugo across the Nara decades. As this new blended religion took root, it became an integral part of Japanese culture and society, influencing art, architecture, and religious practices. The cultural exchange between Japan and China during the Yamato period kick-started the development of distinctly Japanese art and architecture. While initially influenced by Chinese aesthetics, Japanese artisans began incorporating indigenous elements into their creations, giving rise to a unique and vibrant artistic tradition. Furthermore, the evolution of the Japanese writing system continued during this period. Building upon the foundation of Chinese characters, called kanji, that were likely introduced to Japan in the 5th century, new writing systems, such as hiragana and katakana, were developed and largely introduced by the 9th century. These syllabic scripts, derived from kanji, provided greater flexibility and accessibility in written communication, further enriching Japanese culture and literature. The Yamato period, a cornerstone of Japanese history, stands as the period that catapulted Japan onto the global stage. What started as a latecomer, Japan has become one of the most advanced and successful countries in the world. Under the Yamato government, Japan embarked on a trajectory that would shape its governance, society, and cultural identity for millennia to come. From the institutionalization of centralized governance to the propagation of Buddhism and the evolution of the Japanese writing system, this period incubated key elements of Japanese identity. The Yamato imperial line, an emblematic feature of Japan's history, traces its documented origins to the Kofun and Asuka periods. While the historicity of early Yamato emperors, specifically from Emperor Jimmu in around 600 BCE until the Kofun period, remains debated, the continuity of the imperial lineage since the 3rd century CE, despite periods of relative insignificance, has persisted uninterrupted to the present day, cementing its status as the longest unbroken dynasty in human history. I hope you enjoyed this video and found this period in history both informative and enlightening. Please feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below, and I hope you can join us for another video. Thanks for watching.